Good evening, friends. Stephen Benoon here with Israeli News Live. Got breaking news coming out of Israel. Capt.Tomer. I know the guy looks very young right here in this photograph that you're looking at on your screen right now. He is an IDF cyber intelligence analyst, and the question we're asking tonight is, was this man murdered while in Israeli custody? I know that sounds very provocative to be saying. We already know the Israeli government is trying to put a gag order on this story right here. In fact, they've been trying to keep this quiet for quite some time already. In fact, Captain Igas, his family was made to sign in the middle of the night a secrecy order about his arrest. This happened some months ago, and of course, as far as I understand it, he wasn't even charged or anything. He's been held secretly and claiming that he did some kind of espionage. No trial, no nothing. And now, mysteriously, this young man ends up dead in Israeli custody. I guess he wasn't cracking too well for them when they were interrogating him and torturing him. No doubt something along those lines there. Or maybe they're just not getting their wishes with this young man. Anyway, this is what we're finding out here, and this is on the website Tikkun Olam. Actually, the information was originally shared with me by Lior, our good friend in Israel, an Israeli journalist here, who also said that the information is very sketchy on what they're willing to release right now. It says over the past few days, this is the writer of this story, this article right here, the writer there. In fact, I believe, I'm not mistaken, that is David Sheen. I think David Sheen may be the author of that publication. Not really sure. Richard Silverstein. I apologize, Richard Silverstein. So, okay, it's two different people there. Anyway, I saw this over here where David had shared this as well. David Sheen had shared this story. This is not very well known. In fact, at all, friends, Israel is doing a very good job at trying to cover their sins once again. If it's not their sins against Hamas, or not Hamas, but Palestinians, it's the sins against their own. Watch what happens here. This is a typical day in Israeli military and the way they deal with their own when they allegedly accuse them of spying or espionage or whatever the case may be. Said over the past few days, I broke the story of Amman cyber intelligence analyst Capt.Tomer, age 25, who died in a military prison last month. The Shin Bet arrested and charged him secretly, according to security source I consulted with, espionage. After I published my first story in the case, Israeli media began to clamor for the military censor to release more details for publication. Until I published his name, the media could only report the barest details of the case. Well, that's still the way it's going right now. They don't want anybody to know anything about this young man. The family has also taken issue with the claim that he committed suicide in a prison cell. Today, a military appeals court permitted publication of details stating that Igas had not been charged with espionage or treason and that he had not been spying for a foreign country. Oh, wow, he wasn't spying for a foreign country? He's not been charged for espionage. He had not been charged with espionage or treason, but yet he's in prison. Or was in prison until, he died. By the way, the pictures you're seeing there is from 2014. So, yeah, it is an older photo there. So we don't have a current photo to see what he looks like at this point now. Anyway, it says, if that's so, then why is Igas buried in the civilian portion of the cemetery? It is a customary for Army veterans to be buried with their military comrades. Apparently, the Army prohibited Igas from being buried in the military section of the cemetery where he was buried. Why? Well, we find out that it's because he was removed from military service while he was in prison. He joined the IDF to do his regular service in Unit 8200, and after he got out, he decided he wanted to go further into doing work with the Israeli military. That didn't go over too good for him. It also says here, the IDF would not permit Igas to hire his own lawyer, so a military defense lawyer represented him. Originally, there were 36 charges filed against him, but the military judge urged the parties to enter mediation. As a result, the charges were whittled down to 18. Wow. Let me read you this part where I was talking about where his parents signed this deal in the middle of the night, right? The woman's source also said when Iges was arrested, 10 IDF officers came to the parents' home in the middle of the night and made them sign a form committing to remain silent about his arrest. They agreed to do so. They didn't even tell their daughters, Iges' sisters, about his arrest for months afterwards. In fact, the fathers worked for a major Israeli military contractor and could have used his contacts to lobby on behalf of his son, but he honored his written commitment. I wonder if he's thinking twice about that now. The source also revealed other aspects of the case, including the fact that a prison psychiatrist had prescribed Iges antidepressants because he suffered from depression due to his imprisonment. And after the son's death, the parents hired a pathologist who performed an autopsy. He could find no physical cause of death, ruled out strangulation, heart attack, and other causes. He sent toxicology blood panel for analysis, but the results are not yet known. The lady also revealed that Iges had requested that he be housed with other officers in the prison, but the authorities refused, telling him that he would prevent them from monitoring his cell. Seems like a setup to me. Very, very, very odd, this situation right here. News reports today revealed that he had been indicted, but that he had not been put on trial. It's customary in such national security cases, if there is a trial, for it to be in secret as well. But the state prefers for defendants to take a plea deal so it does not expose even accidentally any state secrets or intelligent methods. This may be why Iges, like Ben Zieger before him, were held for months without trial, and a form of abuse in its own right. Such isolation and long intervals of uncertainty can easily unbalance the minds of such prisoners, though I have no idea whether that is what happened in Iges' case. A close family member contacted me after I published my story, and this slightly edited excerpts of his account of Tomer, the Tomer he knew. So he includes also that. I'll put the link in there for you guys about this situation. And this is just horrendous. It's quite, this is what I find interesting. I don't know how much I can say about this other case here, but I will tell you this. I reported not long ago about an accident that left quite a few Israelis dead. And that, I would have to say, was not an accident. I mentioned that I would speak about this over on Patreon, and that's probably where I'll speak about that at. But I believe, in my own estimation of that particular incident that I reported here not too long ago, the Israeli family that died, that it was an intentional attack to silence certain people. I'll leave it at that for right now. The point is there are those in the Israeli government that take out their own. They just don't care. So what did this 25-year-old man do that was so horrendous that the Israeli government has treated him the way they have? That's very interesting. Something that just really irks me, I'm sure, and no doubt does you as well. Anyway, I'm Steve Benu. You're watching Israeli News Live. Don't forget to check out over on, where is it, Brand New Tube? Yeah, over here on Brand New Tube. Now, Yana was not on this broadcast here. This was Deborah Tavares, and she was with Paul Powers, talking about the massive reduction of water worldwide. That's becoming a very real issue, friends, and I think it's worth listening to. At any rate, check that out. I'm Stephen Benu. You're listening to Israeli News Live. And also, wait a minute. There was also another one. Oh yeah, this is where we were analyzing the debate um, that Dr. Michael Brown did with Vincent Bruno on the 7 Noahide laws. And we did that with Brother Perez. Very, very insightful message. I'm actually getting that loaded over here now on iConnect so that this can be in multiple languages. And by the way, if you are interested, we are still looking for editors of the English transcript, as well as editors for Russian, Hebrew, Spanish, and Chinese. And you're not having to you don't have to transcribe the document if you're doing the English version, and you don't have to transcribe the foreign language. It's just a matter of looking at the content and making sure that content is accurate so that we can get this information out to the rest of the world. So if you are interested in that, please email us at israelinewslive at gmail.com and note in there transcribing, even though it's only editing, but transcribing in the subject line. And bear with me. I've not got everybody's information as of yet, but I'm going to try to put everything together, and then I'm going to try to create some type of a schedule to where, in fact, when you write me, if you have a certain day of the week that you could be available to help transcribe the English, let me know. If you're able to do the foreign language but you're on limited capacity where you could help with that, let us know. And I've not emailed everybody back as of yet that has written me. I know that, but I will try to get back with everybody as soon as I possibly can. Anyway, I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Blessings to you, and thank you for listening.